The worst loneliness does not happen when you are by yourself. It happens when you are surrounded by people, and not one of them can see the real you. You can be in a full room, laughing at the right moments, saying all the right things, and still feel a quiet ache that no one in that room would ever guess. Being alone is simple. It just means no one is around. But this is different. This is being unseen while completely surrounded. And here is the strange part. The more people there are, the lonelier it can feel, because every face around you is proof that connection is possible. Just not for you. Not right now. You know this feeling well. You're at a gathering, music playing, conversations flowing, and a part of you is just waiting for a polite moment to leave. You talk about the weather, the weekend, the small, safe things. The conversation stays on the surface, and so do you. You never quite go in. Someone asks how you are doing, and you say, "Good, busy." You know how it is. It is the easy answer. It is also not really the truth. You scroll through messages from people who like you and still feel like no one actually knows you. Liked is not the same as known. From the outside, people might call you friendly, easy to talk to, maybe even popular. They think you have plenty of people around you, but inside, it can feel like you are watching your own life through a thin pane of glass, close enough to touch, never quite able to reach. And here is the truth that most people who feel this way never get told. You are not lonely because no one is there. You are lonely because the part of you that most wants to be seen is the exact part you keep hidden. Once you see that, the whole feeling starts to make sense. So let's go deeper, layer by layer. First, we have to separate two things that get confused all the time: being alone and feeling lonely. They are not the same. Being alone is about space. It is a count of how many bodies are in the room. You can be alone and feel completely at peace. Loneliness is about connection. It is not a count of people. It is a measure of how seen you feel by the people who are there. So you can have 0 people around you and feel full, and you can have 50 people around you and feel empty. The number is not the thing. What actually fills you is the feeling of being met. Someone hears what you really mean, not just the words, and something in you relaxes. That moment of being met is what we are really hungry for. Not attention, not company, being met. And this is why a crowd can make it worse. A crowd gives you plenty of company and plenty of attention, but almost no real meeting. The crowd keeps everything light and fast. There is no room to slow down and say the one true thing you are actually feeling. So you leave the gathering having spoken for hours, and somehow you feel like you said nothing at all because nothing real got out. Now notice something important. This is not because the people were bad or cold or did not care about you. Many of them would have happily met the real you if you had let them in. But they can only meet the version you show them. Think about the last time you felt lonely in a room full of people. Picture it for a second. I am willing to bet that in that moment, you were holding something back. A worry, a feeling, a true thought you decided was not safe to share. That holding back is the real source of the distance. The gap was not in the room. The gap was between your inside and your outside. The loneliness lives in that gap. The wider the gap between who you are and who you show, the lonelier you feel, no matter how many people are near. So the real question becomes, why do we hide the very thing we most want someone to see? That is the next layer. Here is the quiet thing your brain is doing, without ever telling you. To your brain, belonging is not a luxury. It is survival. For almost all of human history, being cut off from the group meant real danger. So your brain treats being unseen as a kind of threat, not a polite social discomfort, but a quiet alarm that something is wrong and you are not safe. That ache you feel in a crowd is not weakness or being dramatic. It is an ancient signal saying, I am here, but I am not connected. And that matters. But here is where it gets complicated. The same brain that craves connection is also terrified of one specific thing: rejection. Because to be truly seen, you have to show the real you. And if the real you gets rejected, that hurts far more than hiding ever could. So your brain quietly makes a deal, a trade you never agreed to out loud. It chooses safety over connection. It says, let's not risk showing the real thing. Let's show a safe version instead, a version that is easy to accept and impossible to reject. And this safe version works. People like it. They smile back. Nobody pushes you away. The deal seems to pay off. But there is a hidden cost buried in this deal, and you pay it quietly every single time. When people accept the safe version, a part of you does not feel relief. It feels even more alone because they are loving a mask, not you. Their warmth never reaches the real you because the real you is still hidden behind the glass, watching it all happen to someone else. So the goal is not to blame yourself for wearing the mask. The mask was protecting something. The real question is, what taught you to put it on? And to find that, we have to go back further than you might think, because the habit of hiding your real self, the one you run today as a grown adult, very often began a long time ago when you were small. Many people who feel alone in a crowd learned early that some parts of them were welcome and other parts were not. Maybe when you were happy and easy, you got warmth, but when you were sad or scared or angry, the room got colder or someone looked away. So you learned a quiet rule: to keep the people you needed, you had to show the good parts and hide the rest. Love felt like it had conditions. Back then, this was not a flaw. It was smart. Hiding the messy feelings kept the connection you needed to survive. It was protection, and it worked. Showing only the easy parts really did keep people close back then. Your mind filed that away. As a rule, that keeps you safe. But here's the part almost no one ever tells you. The loneliness you feel now is not really proof that people will reject the real you. It is just an old prediction still running that they might. You're not hiding from the people in front of you today. You're hiding from a reaction that happened a long time ago to a much smaller you. The faces around you now are not the faces from back then, but your nervous system cannot always tell the difference. So you keep protecting a wound that in this room with these people may not even exist anymore. Read that again. The fear of being unseen made you hide, and the hiding is exactly what keeps you unseen. It is a trap that builds its own walls. The more you fear not being seen, the more you hide, and the more invisible you become. Your mind is not broken. It is loyal. It is just running on very old instructions that nobody ever updated. It is still protecting the child you were. And once you truly understand that, the goal stops being find more people and starts being let the right people see the real me. That shift changes everything. But first, let's be honest about what this old habit of hiding is costing you now. This old strategy has a real price, and you pay it in your closest moments, the ones that were supposed to feel warm. First, the loneliness deepens, not despite the people, but partly because of them. Every warm moment that lands on the mask reminds you the real you is still untouched. Second, it is exhausting. Holding up a version of yourself all day, scanning every face for approval, takes an enormous amount of quiet energy. Third, you start to doubt your own worth. A quiet voice whispers that if people only like the mask, then maybe the real you is not actually likable. But that voice is lying. People never rejected the real you. They simply never got the chance to meet it. And fourth, you slowly lose touch with who you even are. Wear a mask long enough, and one day you reach for the real face and struggle to find it. Because part of you never gets to come out and breathe. It stays backstage, waiting for a moment that feels safe enough. And that moment keeps not coming. And here is the cruelest part of all. All that careful hiding, meant to protect you from loneliness, is the very thing producing it. The shield against the ache is what keeps the ache alive. You built a wall to keep the pain out, and ended up living inside it with the pain instead. So if hiding harder is not the answer, what is? Let's talk about the way out. The way out is not finding a bigger crowd And it is not forcing yourself to suddenly tell everyone everything. The real way out is smaller and braver. It is letting one safe person see one true thing. Connection is not built in crowds. It is built in moments. Not every person is the right person. And that is okay. You do not owe the real you to a whole crowd. You only need one or two who can hold it gently. So start small. Share one real thing you would normally hide. A worry, a hope, honestly, today was hard. Just one crack in the mask. Notice the fear that rises, that urge to laugh it off or take it back. Let it be there. Do not rush to cover up. Just let yourself be seen. For a moment, and most of the time, something quietly amazing happens. The other person leans in, not away. Realness invites realness. Your honesty gives them permission too. Each time you survive being seen, and you will, the old rule loses a little of its grip. You are teaching your nervous system something brand new. A simple radical message: I can be the real me and still be accepted. I do not have to perform to be allowed to stay. A crowd was never really the goal. Being met was, and being met can be built in another way. A slower, braver way that does not ask you to be liked by everyone, only known by someone. Not by collecting more faces around you, but by letting one of them truly in. So let's come back to that crowded room, but with new eyes this time. The loneliness you felt there was never proof that you were unlovable. Even on the nights it convinced you it was. It was a younger version of you doing its absolute best with the only tool it had to keep you safe by keeping you hidden. You can thank it and gently tell it that it is allowed to be seen now. You do not have to be liked by everyone to stop feeling alone. You never did. You only have to be known by someone. You only have to be willing to let one person see one true thing before you feel completely ready. So, here is my question for you, and I really do want you to sit with it and answer it honestly. Who is the last person who truly saw the real you? Not the version you perform, but the actual you underneath. Tell me in the comments. And if this felt familiar, you are not alone here. Take a breath, and I'll see you in the next one.